Burkina Faso has suffered its worst massacre since the country's jihadist insurgency began in 2015. Armed men attacked the Sahel region village of Solhan, killing 132 people according to government figures, and at least 160 according to local sources.
They killed so many people, not sparing women and children. They killed, and they burned all the goods they saw. They ransacked the place.
Fearing for their lives, thousands have fled to the neighbouring commune of Seba. Visiting the site of the bloodshed, the Prime Minister has promised a response.
We have already taken security measures, and today this area is occupied by a number of troops who are performing a sweep to reassure the people who are still there.
But the Burkinabe people have doubts about the ability of their security forces to stop the spiral of jihadist violence. 6 years of unrest have left more than 1,400 dead and more than 1 million displaced.
We are really discouraged by the situation. We are scared now. We're scared.
Since only the start of this year, some 150,000 people have become internally displaced in the country, according to the UNHCR. Mali's strongman, Colonel Assimi Goïta, was sworn in as the country's transitional president. The ceremony was an opportunity to reconcile with the international community, concerned by his seizure of power in a second military coup in 9 months.
I would like to reassure in your name the sub-regional and regional organizations and the international community in general that Mali will honor all its commitments for and in the best interests of the nation.
Goïta appears to have succeeded in appeasing the economic community of West African states, who have expressed faith in his commitment to restoring civilian rule. Elections are scheduled for February 2022. In the meantime, Mali's new transitional prime minister is Choguel Maïga, a veteran politician and key figure of the June 5th movement, which led the protests that culminated in the August 2020 coup. One of his main challenges will be maintaining Mali's international partnerships. Mali's former colonial power, France, has suspended joint military operations with Malian forces, pending guarantees about the February 2022 elections. The leader of the jihadist group Boko Haram has died. According to rival group the Islamic State West Africa province known as ISWAP, Abubakar Shekau committed suicide after their fighters raided his forest stronghold. Under Shekau's leadership, Boko Haram turned large areas of northeast Nigeria into a no-go zone, proclaiming a caliphate in 2014. His death would do little to diminish the threat of jihadism in the region. Some fear that ISWAP will become stronger, absorbing former Boko Haram fighters with the offer of better training and more advanced weaponry. The southeast of Nigeria is also the scene of violent unrest, attributed by the authorities to the ethnic separatist group, the indigenous people of Biafra. President Muhammadu Buhari took to Twitter to condemn the unrest, with a statement that referenced the country's civil war. Twitter deleted the tweet, noting that it had violated its rules. Soon after, Nigeria suspended access to the platform.
We gave a specific reason. Twitter has continued to become the platform of choice for the separatist movement, IPOB. And we think that no country in the world will accept that.
The decision has been met with much resistance in this young and highly connected country. The platform is popular in Nigeria, playing a major role in rallying protesters, particularly during last year's End SARS anti-police brutality movement.
This morning, I couldn't even tweet. You see, it's shameful. It's shameful that in every strata, in every area of life, they want to take everything from the citizens. Unacceptable. You cannot clamp down on us.
Campaigning has closed ahead of Algeria's June 12th elections, with enthusiasm and engagement at rock bottom. A climate of repression is in place as authorities attempt to stamp out the Hirak protest movement, which is urging a boycott of the vote. The elections will see voters choose 407 lawmakers from more than 13,000 candidates, more than half listed as independent. Meanwhile, Islamist parties are seeking to take advantage of the boycott to increase their representation. Abdurazak Makri, president of the Movement of Society for Peace, with links to the Muslim Brotherhood, has stated that he is ready to govern in case of victory.
Instead of attending school, these children in the Ivory Coast sort through cocoa beans on a plantation. Child labour in the industry is a scourge the country is trying to stamp out. In early May, a high-profile police operation received wide media coverage. For 2 days, dozens of officers were mobilised in the western Subre region to root out children working. Around 68 were found.
We've been trying to raise awareness for a long time, but as long as you don't send strong signals, as well as punish people who employ children in dangerous work one by one, it will always continue. So we have to send signals.
22 people were sentenced to prison for child trafficking as a result of the operation. The Ivory Coast is the world's largest cocoa producer. NGOs have been highlighting the plight of child labourers in the industry for decades. But only recently has the country experienced pressure from Western consumers demanding ethical practices. In just 2 years, some 2,000 children have been removed from plantations. Many of them have found refuge in this centre in Subre.
I stopped going to school when I was 10 years old. When my parents didn't have enough money, I went out and helped them by working in the field.
Poverty is the main cause behind child exploitation. According to the World Bank, over 2.5 million people working in the cocoa industry live below the poverty line.
When we welcome the children, we smile a lot to gain their trust, and during the exchanges as well. And we initially listen. This allows us to detect whether the child is being trafficked or not, or if they are working or not.
Parents are then invited to the centre to discuss the situation further. This mediation work helps improve the schooling rate of children and families working in the industry. In serious cases involving abuse or forced labour, the children remain at the centre where they attend school.